Why didn't you tell me? You wanted to release, but you never told me.
All right, we're going to go through a wide range of different pro examples here, just to show different stylistic approaches to the same fundamental important elements.
Okay.
And I'm going to be really careful to point out a couple of things that you've mentioned over the last couple of days that I actually don't think are true about your forehand. The benchmark we like to see is that by contact, the hips and the shoulders are facing forwards.
Yeah.
This is a really extreme example here with Dopo, in the sense that his shoulders are parallel to the baseline here, like really before his racket head even starts releasing forwards. And so he's open up to the net super, super early. But what I want you to notice is how his racket lines up with the butt cap pointed towards the ball, and he's pulling his racket forwards from the hips and from his shoulders, rotating forwards.
Right.
And then this lag that people refer to is released into the point of contact and then through the point of contact.
Right.
So his arm and his hand and his racket head are extending out towards the other side, and then in a circular path coming across over to the left.
Right.
Just gonna look at that same kind of framework here. The chest starting facing towards the camera, hips facing towards the camera, pulling the butt cap forward first. By contact, his chest is facing parallel to the baseline,
Right.
his hips too. And then this pull of the racket starting from pointing back, releases forwards, and extends into the court. Djokovic has much more of a bent arm style, which is what you have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I do.
But
He copied it from me. So.
yeah, you know, I know it's painful. That's why I apologized.
Yeah.
But you can still see how his racket head is extending forwards towards the other side and then coming around to the other side of his body.
Yeah.
And so you can see how his hand is turning and releasing, because from the point of contact through, all the momentum and energy that's carried into the ball is just decelerating and dissipating through the point of contact.
Right.
Now, Roger, really different stylistically from both Novak and Dopo. Delpo's super direct, very conservative grip, very straight arm. Djokovic, pretty aggressive grip, more bent arm, but both of them have that same framework of the body leading, the arm coming through relaxed and calm and coming around the body. Roger is really extended at contact, more of a straight arm, kind of like Delpo, but his grip's a little bit further. But I want you to look at how we can really hardly even see the strings after the point of contact. And that's because his racket is remaining on plane as he releases past the point of contact. So he's not flipping the racket over. He's not bringing the racket around with his arm. His hand and his forearm and his shoulder are just super, super relaxed. And because of the energy that's coming up to the ball here, and because he's so relaxed, the racket just keeps going in that direction and just decelerates really smoothly.
But he ends up.
Something that you are doing a good job of that you're not giving yourself credit for is the initial loading of your body, which this is solid. This is pretty strong. Like, we could do a little more. You mentioned like your legs. Like, could we make this a little more dynamic and a little bit more athletic? Yeah, we could a little bit, but this is probably like an 8 out of 10 on the setup position. It's really strong. And very consistently, by the time you make contact, you are rotating your body and your hips forwards. This is usually the thing that we focus on the forehand. Most players get turned to the side, but then from there, their arm does all the work.
That's the way I feel I do it.
And you're not. You even, with the open stance here, you even have some separation or some coil between your shoulders and your hips, which is great. It's a good athletic position. By the time you make contact, you're facing forwards. So you are not hitting the ball with your arm. You would not be able to hit as solid of a shot as you are relying on just your arm to accelerate the racket. Okay. What we are going to spend time focusing on is what happens from the point of contact onwards.
Right, that's the problem that I noticed myself, yeah.
And so what we're seeing here is the racket face is essentially getting locked in, and your arm is steering the racket around your body. And for me, what I see here is like a lot of bicep and a lot of forearm, kind of hooking the racket around in kind of a locked position, with the racket face just coming around in a circle, as opposed to Del Potro and Novak and Roger, who all have different stylistic ways of doing it. But because the racket's coming from below the ball up to contact, and because they're really relaxed, the racket just continues in that path. And so a good way to explain this is, I want you to take a look at the top edge of the racket. See the little red spot there?
Yeah.
How it's pointing upwards.
Right.
Keep your eye on that red spot of the racket. Which way is it facing now?
Down.
Now it's facing down. And if you look at Novak, so keep your eye on the top edge. Right now it's facing up, and now it's facing down.
Right.
And over with the Roger example, his will be the most pronounced. Right here, that red part is pointing up, and then really quickly it flips over.
Right.
And now it's pointing down.
Pronation. His arm is pronating.
Yes. And if we look at the example we just checked out with
Yeah,
yours,
mine is a disaster.
so check out the top edge of the racket.
Yeah.
See how it stays on top all the way around until you kind of get to your shoulder, and then it's like, oh, and you turn it over at the end.
Right.
And so there's just a lot of, I feel like your arm is just kind of locking down and you're steering the racket over to the other side. You're not allowing the racket to release. You're keeping it from happening.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame because you've built up all of this energy, and we see this same position here, this pulling position that we saw from the other pros. And so from here to here, your racket wants to continue in that direction. That energy wants to release through the point of contact, but it's not. Instead, it's getting trapped by your arm.
Mm-hmm. Why didn't you tell me? You wanted to release, but you never told me. I just went away.
All right, so we're gonna shadow, just like we have with every other stroke, we're just gonna shadow through this really smoothly. And Megan had a good idea that we're gonna use. We're actually gonna use the net as a prop here. And all I'd like to see you do is shadow through your forehand swing. And we're gonna use the net as kind of a mock contact point. We'll use the net cord. And as you come up to the point of contact, we're gonna use the net as kind of a barrier reference point that we don't want to cross. Currently, you're coming up to the point of contact and kind of coming straight around, using your arm and your hand. And rather than doing that, I'd love to see you come up to the point of contact and maintain that plane, but turn the racket around instead of, it's like, they're both circular pads. If we were to look right directly over on top of you, we'd see a circle. And instead, we want to see the circle drawn more in front of you. Nice job. Now come on back to the service line for me, please. And I'd love to just kind of keep that barrier in mind, that illustration in mind, and continue moving through that same path for me, please. Bring the speed down about in half, please. Great, yes, yes. And pay special attention to the top edge of the racket as you approach contact, and make sure it smoothly transitions to the bottom edge. Yep. So you can see how the path of the racket now, as it comes up, is looking much more circular from a side view. Whereas previously the racket was coming around your body in a circular path from the top view as you were kind of hooking the racket around your body. And so there's a lot more fluidity here. You were pointing out as well, more extension.
Yeah.
And now the racket is turning over and releasing.
Yeah.
It's the same smooth release of the racket. And once, a little while from now, when we've started getting a ball put in the way of this path, ultimately what we want to see is what we're seeing right here, which is the ball not impacting the path of the racket at all. In other words, the direction of energy from here to here just continues and kind of slingshots out away from your body and around to the left side, instead of like coming up to contact in this direction and then the racket making a left-hand turn over in this direction because your arm is forcing it over in that direction. Just one more thing I'd like to draw your attention to before we start dropping a ball, and that is the connection between your right hip and this motion. And it might seem a little abstract at first, but I want you to really be aware of your hip leading the forward rotation of your body, and that's what really enables your arm to be relaxed. And you're doing a good job of that already on your swing, but I just want you to be aware of the fact that to the extent your body leads and initiates and provides the power and the energy for the swing, is to the same extent your arm can just be passive and relaxed. Right. If your body is like jerky or inefficient or doesn't turn forwards, then your arm has no choice but to have to take over and muscle through the shot. So I just want you to really feel your right hip pulling and leading, and then your arm just being super loose and relaxed. And I want you to, from the shoulder down, just be completely relaxed. Your forearm, your hand, your bicep.
Shoulder down this way.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yep. So feel the hip turn first, and then from the shoulder down, let that just completely be loose and limp. Good job. Relax your hand and your forearm even more. It feels like you're just barely holding on to the racket. Those last couple swings were, let me just play a couple of them for you real quick. In my opinion, definitely the loosest, like freest looking swings that you've made so far. You can see how the racket just kind of has a natural kind of snap to it.
If I could hit the ball like that.
You will. And so now you can see there's like this little bit of slingshot like energy that's coming right around the point of contact, and that's what's turning the racket over.
Right.
From this being the top edge of the racket to very quickly transitioning to being the bottom edge of the racket, which is what you're missing before.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I'm going to have you do 2 of those shadow swings, really smooth and calm and relaxed, focusing on your hip and then your arm being really loose. And then I'm going to give you a fake toss off to the side, and I want you to track the ball and just make that exact same movement with your body. So 2 practice ones. Good. One more. Same movement now. Good. Nice job. 2 practice. Good. Fake toss. Good. Still seeing that same release with the racket head. You can see a little bit more acceleration when when the ball is there, and which is totally natural. It's just kind of funny how it triggers that. So rather than getting locked in and hooking around, your arm is now starting to extend a little more. Not that there's anything wrong with having a bent arm, but if the racket's not allowed to move freely and everything starts getting steered around the body, that's when we start to lose a lot of energy. Here's what we're going to do, Brad. We're going to go 2 smooth shadow swings. Megan is going to give you 1 dummy toss off to the side, and then feed you 1 real. These are just going to be soft underhand tosses. Keep it smooth and relaxed. Hands up, Megan. Good, 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 good. Nice job, nice job. 1 shadow. 1 fake. Same path on the hit. Good. Here's the last hit that you just made. It's really, really nice. It's looking super smooth and relaxed.
I want my shoulders to keep turning, though. I think I stopped myself somehow.
The amount, what percentage of effort are you using right now?
Yeah. The shoulder turning comes from more effort, right?
Right. Any kind of movement should be a natural occurrence. Right. It should be kind of an automatic result.
My concern was that I was stopping myself.
No, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
No. The fact that you're going past parallel with your body, to me, means you're really relaxed.
Okay.
Anything beyond that is going to be from effort of your body torquing forwards,
right?
Which you're not doing right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So do not worry about it. The path is what we're focused on. That looks really nice. Okay, we're gonna go back to no man's land.
Okay.
We're just gonna go through the same sequence here. One shadow, 1 fake off to the side, and then Megan will feed you 4.
Okay.
1 fake. Nice job. Good job. It's good, Brad. Nice job, nice job. A couple in there are real good, and it's still kind of floating in and out of it, and I'm totally satisfied with that for right now. I'm not expecting you to master this on your first try, but a lot of really good reps in here. Like here, in particular, for reaching and stretching, just allowing the racket to move. This to me, I hate the word natural, but my favorite context to use it in is referring to what the racket does after contact. Does that mirror what happened before contact?
Right.
And this is just a very natural path for the racket because it continues on the direction that you set it on in the first place. Looks great. Your body's not getting in the way. That's probably a little bit manipulated, manufactured. Mm-hmm. I don't mind that at all compared to the kind of the bear hug that you had before with your arm. Yeah, it's all the ball, man.
Yeah.
When you know you don't have to make contact, everything's just
right,
fluid and uninhibited. That's good. I'm real happy with that. Let's go back to the baseline.
Okay.
Any thoughts, questions?
No, I'm enjoying the progression because it's
good.
Getting used to it a little bit.
Yeah, it's looking good. Let's stick with 1, 1, and 4. 1, 1, and 4. Nice job, nice job. Good job. It's great, Brad. Here's your very last repetition here. You're starting to just let the racket swing now.
Yeah.
I mean, your starting position for both is the same, with the exception you had to take a step to the one on the left. Your body is rotating forwards and leading on both. But from contact, you're just trying to muscle through this. And this is not one of the worst ones.
Right.
This is one of the tighter ones now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On the right. Still a good step in the right direction, but the one that we want to see is more there.
Yeah.
With the release of the arm and the hand and the shoulder.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make a few shadow swings, please, Brett. I'm going to rally a couple with Megan.
From the wide ball?
She's just going to try to keep it in your strike zone. So it could be anywhere on this side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just a live rally now. And your goal is to execute. Go ahead and make a few more shadow swings. I like that Kevin brought back the edge focus. The bare minimum here, we want to see the transition take place of the top edge of the racket becoming the bottom edge of the racket. A little bit steered. That's better, much better, much better. Nice job, nice job, nice job. Yep.
Just working, man. Every time we win a ball. I hear in my ear like, whoa, footwork.
Oh, that's good. These are the first two shots of the last rally, the last ball that you and Megan just hit back and forth. This first one, I think, is a good example of like good step in the right direction. Like the racket.
That kind of half measure, right?
Yeah. There's like a little bit of holding on, like right in here. Things kind of clamp down a little bit, but it's a good step in the right direction. The very next repetition was one that you really allowed to turn over. That's a good example of just the racket turning over right through contact. Look at that focus. Look at that. That should be a Nike poster right there. Or one of those like inspirational with the word below it, focus. That's good.
Nice.
Yeah, really nice. Racket head releasing.
Yeah.
Also real good. Really good. Nice job.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
nice
you.
work.
Good job.